Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Extra Extra, where we've got a little bit of everything tonight. Um, we missed you over the Easter holiday, but I had family arrangements, so no show. There will be one this Saturday. I kind of wanted to get caught up on some of the stuff I missed, some of the stuff that just recently dropped, which we'll get to first, and is the headliner as it was on the thumbnail with Mr. James Fishback and his continued battle against Greenlight Capital. Um, I didn't get to talk about it because we were gone Easter, but I had been posting about it that on the 1st, yeah, April 1st, ha 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 ha, James Fishback had his hearing the in the case in Florida where the Greenlight is trying to collect on the judgment that they already got in the debt that he owed him for defaulting on that promissory note. The hearing was held. Transcript isn't out yet. I mean, you can get it sort of in limited release form direct from the courthouse, but it is not on Pacer and won't be until let's say June or July, which really sucks. Yeah, July because it'd be 3 months. So we're just gonna have to make do. But we do get some hints. We do get some hints in the most recent thing because last we left off from that hearing, there was going to be basically some interrogatories. Greenlight wanted discovery to try and get at James Fishback's assets. And so the court set up a briefing schedule on that, that by the 7th, Greenlight was to serve James Fishback with the interrogatories, and and by the 14th, James Fishback had to respond to the interrogatories, which I believe this is this one here. Order. Oh no, that's the deferred order, which would be. Oh, here. I think this is it right here. The order entry is this one. Yeah, memorializes the ruling. Oh, so it wasn't the 7th, it was the 8th. And Fishback has till the 15th. So I was a little off on the dates. So it dropped today. No later than the 8th, Greenlight must serve on plaintiff a detailed, specific list of discovery items. Now, to be clear, let me recenter this a little bit. To be clear, Greenlight did not have to produce these on the docket. And I kind of tilted my hand a little bit. Usually when you have like interrogatories and discovery, you just serve that on the person. It's directed to them. It doesn't need to be posted on the docket. But I guess the Florida state level courts did it. So maybe that's why they did it in federal court. But here there was nothing specifying that it had to be posted on the docket. It just said serve Fishback. And we did get the interrogatories along with 4 exhibits. This is just the header. Notice that this was filing and request for production from James Fishback. That's just the cover page on that. Oops, sorry, I clicked on the cover page again. I didn't want to do that. Then Exhibit A is the actual, I believe, interrogatories. Yep, 15 pages. This is really interesting because this is going to let us really know what Greenlight's kind of going after when it comes to James Fishback here. So, interrogatories. This is basically the questions that they're asking James Fishback, and he needs to produce documentation on. I don't think there was a request for any sort of testimony, so that will not be necessary in this case. There, we can focus on that a little bit more. So we have our whole list of interrogatories. They had 15 pages, and it looks like over 75 questions that James has a whole week to get back to. So, produce a detailed record of all payments made by Azoria Capital to you, including but not limited to the amount, date, method, payment purpose of each payment, and each condition associated therewith, together with all documents and records evidencing such. Now, this is really important because they had a judgment out to to get his wages. Like when that judgment came down, they could collect on that. And Azoria, at the time, if it was his employer and he had any income, then a portion of that should have gone to Greenlight. And if it didn't, that would be in violation of that, and they can take it from Azoria because it was technically owed to them. And if a garnishment was served on Azoria, then or was served on, or there was a garnishment active on Fishback, then that money is owed to Greenlight. Confirm you are still the 100% owner of Azoria Capital as referenced in Exhibit B attached to the notice of filing. If not, please explain to the other who the other shareholders are and the extent of their holdings and any transfers of your shares since the filing of Exhibit B with the SEC on January 6th. So let's go take a look at Exhibit B, which should be this right here. Which I assume is just his SEC. Yeah, it's just his filings with the SEC. Assume it says somewhere on here. You maintain the books. So he maintains the books. You register. Nope. Site address, location, books and records. Response to the items. Investor advisor. Operation. Advisor, nope. Should be around here, right? In fact, it should have been near the top. Sorry, Capital. Address. Monday through Friday. No chief compliance officer. Let's see here. I bet if we control F, Fishback, control person, if entered yes. So yeah, he has himself named as the control person, as the owner and founder, and CEO and CCO, and then Alexander Joseph Mingua, who is the chief of staff, whatever the fuck that means. And he is the person in control of the company. Okay, can I get that back? Thank you. And of course, he signed for the documents. Okay, so that's what they were getting at there. Okay. So last we knew, he completely controlled the company. And it said so in the filings that he was the controlling officer and that he's the founder and the controlling owner and that he was the 100% owner. We got that from his deposition. Produce monthly account statements, produce any confidentiality agreement between you and Azoria Capital. All of this is important because what I think, and this is just me guessing, their next move is to prove that Azoria Capital is not an independent company. Like, there's not independent books and records. There's not really independent paperwork. There's not really anything that differentiates Azoria from Fishback. Like, maybe they have different bank accounts, but that Azoria is more or less just an alternate identity for Fishback, and that there's really no company here. Identify the individual who prepared or compiled the records of payments made to you by Azoria Capital. Produce all documents relating to any loans you made to you or by you, and such loans repaid or outstanding at the time of January 2020 to the present, including both formal and informal loans. This request includes, but is not limited to, all documents concerning loans or loan payments involving your family members, friends, or affiliates, written or oral. Produce all documents evidencing the existence, terms, and amounts of payment histories, current status of any such loans to the extent of an informal loan, or documenting evidence. Yeah, we already know about his Tesla. That's not really important. We've gone over the episode of them seizing his Tesla. Um, State the exact date on which you ended your employment, because remember, there's that newspaper, that article out there where he says, "Oh, I don't work for Azoria anymore." He's the owner of the company, but we'll get to how that story has also changed as well. Additionally, describe in detail the circumstances surrounding your departure, including all reasons for leaving Azoria Capital. Again, they're trying to establish that him leaving was to try and detach himself from the company, so he can be like, "Oh, those I have nothing to do with that. Those are completely separate finances that you can't go after." When we know James is in complete control of Azoria Capital. Produce all documents which supports the foregoing answer. Identify all employee W-2 or contractor 1099 for Azoria Capital. Again, trying to establish that, is this a legitimate independent company, or is this just another alternate identity, an alias under which Fishback operates, and there is no distinct difference between Azoria and Fishback. Identify and state with particularity your position, title, and role at Azoria Capital at any time from the formation and present, including to whether you have served as a manager, member, director, officer, employee, agent, or any other capacity. And then the dates and all that stuff. State whether Azoria Capital is currently active, inactive, or administratively dissolved or otherwise defunct. If so, identify the date in which the manner the company ceased operations. Which is, again, important. Because if they dissolved, then like, so where the fuck the money go, James? Did it go into your pocket? Is it in some bank account? Is it somewhere? Are you hiding more stuff from us, James, that you're not telling us? If you contend that Azoria Capital is defunct or no longer operating, describe all the facts supporting the conditions, which including whether Azoria Capital continues to maintain bank accounts, hold assets, receive income, engage in transactions, file tax returns, all that kind of stuff. Like, where's the money at, James? And is it in your pocket instead of, where it belongs? Identify all members and managers of Azoria Partners LLC at the time of its formation. And basically asking the same stuff, because in his previous deposition, he was playing this weasel word game where he's like, "Oh, well, Azoria Capital and Azoria Partners and all these things, they're like three separate companies, but they're like, independent, but they're all one company." Like, he kept trying to jump around about it. Obviously, you understand, we understand that, like, legally they're like subsidiary groups and things like that, but it just feels like it's a giant shell game, and so they're trying to diffuse the shell game. You were going to give us exact details on penalty of perjury of all of these things. And by the way, lying by omission is still perjury. Like, they want all of this information. You will give it in precise detail. And this is the funny thing, is like, James at this point could have been upfront. He could have gotten this debt out of the way, paid it, done everything he needed to. But since he decided he wanted to be a little shit about it, now they're going to go through every single fucking one of his turds looking for the kernels. Like, this is the games. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Identify and state with particularity the Azoria Partners LLC. Produce all documents which supports the foregoing answer. Identify all checking, savings, credit cards, accounts, other financial accounts, including certificates of deposit or shares in banks, savings and loan association, credit unions, brokerage accounts, all of that. Each such account and the name and where it's at and all that goodness. And then not just for yourself, but Azoria Capital, and also for Azoria Capital Partners, because they have to be very specific. If he's going to be a wheezy little shit, we're just going to, we're going to get every single thing that we can get you on. For each checking, savings, and credit card accounts and other financial accounts include certificates of deposit or shares in bank accounts. Identify account sources of income that you use for day-to-day living expenses. And we'll get to the rental income part of this. This is going to be really important because we learned some new facts about Mr. Fishback's arrangements between the DC house and the Florida house that apparently came out in the hearing. Identify all cryptocurrencies, digital assets that's held by you or Azora Capital and all that. Produce all the documents supporting any of your claims. Identify and describe in detail the Cartier. Oh man, we're going over this. The Cartier watch again. And this again is like he was wearing the watch and then he was saying, "Oh, I gave it to a friend or it was a friend's, it wasn't mine." And so now they want the entire custody and control of this fucking goddamn watch. Identify and describe in detail the purchase made from and all the like luxury item purchases that he made on his Chase bank account debit card. We want every little bit of what was going on there. Identify and describe the jewelry that you bought at the same time. And of course, we also want to know more about that Apple Store purchase of almost $2,000, and give us more details on all of those. Now, this is where it gets fun. Please state the factual basis for your representation to the court. So we got a little bit of what happened in the hearing, that you never resided in Washington, D.C. Oh my goodness. Like, what are we doing here, bro? In light of the documents attached here too, including Composite Exhibit C. Well, let's go look at Exhibit C, which I'm pretty sure is tax returns. Yes. So we have the 2018 tax returns, says he lives in Washington, D.C. Here's his 2019 tax returns, says he lives in Washington, D.C. This one. Yeah, that's just 2019 again. 2020 tax returns, lives in Washington, D.C. 2021 tax returns, lives in Washington, D.C. 2022 tax returns, lives in Washington, D.C. And that's, of course, as far as they've got based on, employment and all that stuff. But we've also seen the tax records of him claiming his homesteading tax deductions where on a property in DC. So this is a very bad game. Like you've taken this homestead tax credit for your house or some house in DC, and you've got tax returns between 2018 and 2022 that says you live in DC. So when you tell the court you have never resided in DC, that sounds a touch like perjury to me. Like, if he wants to stand on that statement, it seems like perjury to me. It's just, why would you do that? That's just such a stupid boneheaded move. Where the says, tax returns from 2018 to 2022 and District of Columbia income from 2019 and 2022 in the federal tax returns. Exhibit D, this is a funny one too. And Exhibit D, in which connected to your loan application for the property located at 115 Southwest Pinckney Street in Madison, Florida, which is that house that he was in front where you had the AR in front of, where you represented on September 2nd, 2022, that the Madison, Florida address was now to serve as your new primary address, that the property located at 2325 4th Street, Northwest Apartment 215, Washington, D.C., would be retained as a second home or investment property, which, oh man, gets us into all sorts of other screwy shit. Because Fishback apparently was, like I said, was taking that homesteading tax credit in D.C. So, if this home at 15th Southwest Pickery Street is your primary residence, and you're taking a homestead tax credit, allegedly, I've like glanced at the documents, but I haven't directly laid eyes on them. I've seen them posted on X and on social media. So you're taking this tax credit for last year, so 2025 and 2024, the last 2 years, I believe. While your primary residence, you're claiming two loan officers for this loan that you're taking for this mortgage for your house. You're saying this is my primary residence in Florida, and the DC residence is a secondary residence or an investment property. So, one of those two statements has to be a lie. So, either James Fishback is admitting to tax fraud, property tax fraud, or he's admitting to mortgage fraud. Which is it? I'm more inclined to believe, given what we learned from the Lisa Cook experience, depending on when this loan was taken, more than likely it's not mortgage fraud. But it's most definitely tax fraud. Like, just if the property in DC is not your primary residence, you can't take a homestead or tax credit on it. That's only for your permanent residence. So not only is he lying to the court about never having lived in DC, he's also admitted, here's the documents on Exhibit D that they're referencing, where Friday, September 2nd, 2022, to whom it may concern. My new purchase will serve as my new primary residence. I plan to keep 2325 42nd Street, Northwest DC, as a second home or as a future investment property. Right. Oops, wrong one. One Exhibit A. And again, it's my understanding that Greenlight didn't have to post these. All they had to do was serve them to Fishback. This is purely just, I think, again, just the vindictive pettiness of they want to punch him in the gut with this. Okay. Identify and describe in detail the apartment located at 23rd, 25, 42nd Street, which you own and which you represented to the court. Again, we get a little insight to the hearing that I didn't get to hear or see or don't currently have the transcript for, was being rented to a third party. State when the rental agreement began, the full name and contact information of the tenant, because that means that's someone they can follow up on and ask for interrogatories and get a deposition on. Was it a written or oral lease agreement, including the lease term, monthly rent amount, because they're going to go after that rent money. You better believe it. The security deposit, they'll also go after that. Payment schedule, identify all persons, entities involved in negotiating, managing, or administrating the rental agreement, including your parents. So I guess they think that Fishback's parents are operating the property for him, which I assume they're wanting to get more information on because they don't want this to be some game where, oh, actually, it's my parents that own the property, like he tried to do with the fucking Tesla. Describe their roles and authority with respect to the property. State who collects the rent, how and by whom the rent is collected, where the rent payments are deposited or transferred, and how the rental proceeds are distributed or used. Identify each rental payment to receive to this date. And again, if he owns the physical property and it's not his permanent residence, they could very well just seize the apartment, you know. Because I doubt if he's like renting it out to people that he's subletting an apartment. He just kind of and he just kind of owns that apartment unit. And then produce all documents supporting that and your statements as to that. State whether the property located at 115 Pickney Street is currently being used in whole or part as a rental property. Again, he has it as a primary residence, or at least that's what he told when he told the bank when he went and got the mortgage for it. So they want to know, are you subletting it? Are you doing any rents? Because we would like that rent money, please. Or any other that's probably in business purposes, or if you're using it for business purposes, because we'd also like the money from those business proceeds. So identify the nature of such use and all that stuff. I when I saw this, I kind of jokingly said, maybe they are coming after the couch because, so I'll explain here. Identify the real property in which you currently have or have had from at any time from November 2018 to present, because at this point now they're like, you keep hiding shit from us. We want you to tell us where all this property is that you own. So we know about these two properties. Is there any other real property, real estate, anything like that that you own? Tell us about it now. And tell us in painful, excruciating detail, since you continue to be a little weasel, and then give all the documents for it. And if you tried to transfer it to someone else, explain the transfer process, because we're still going to try and come after it if we legally can. For each of the properties identified in response to question 53, produce all monthly mortgage statements from 2018 to the present. This includes but not limited to the mortgage statements issued by Rocket Mortgage relating to the property located at 2325 42nd Street. Please provide a full inventory of all the personal property located at 2325 42nd Street. Because they're luxury items, we're going to seize those too. Please provide a full inventory of the personal property located at 1115 Southwest Pickney Street. Looks like they're coming after the couch after all. I don't know if you guys saw the news article, but like one of the former Fishback staffers released some intergroup text messages, and one of the messages was, I don't think it was serious, but it was a joking reference that, the repo people are coming and they're cleaning out the house, and they even took the couch. Well, maybe they're coming after the couch after all. Give us an inventory of everything in that Florida property, please, and thank you. Identify all sources of income that you currently receive or reasonably expect to receive. Again, you're being a little weasel. Give us all that information. State whether at any time from November 1st, 2018 to present, whether you've entered into, discussed, or negotiated or contemplated any book deals. They're just reaching just anything they can think of at this point, since he doesn't want to be honest and upfront. They're just gonna do a smash and grab, and they're gonna ask for discovery against everything and try and take everything, since you did not want to be upfront and honest. Identify all corporations in which you hold an interest in other than Azoria Capital. Identify all stock that you own. Produce documents for all of that. Identify all the limited liability corporations other than Azoria that you own. Produce all documents identifying partnerships which you hold any interest in. Produce all documents which supports those foregoing answers. Produce a complete copy of your 2025 federal and state income tax records, because we don't trust that you're giving us proper information about your income. So give us all the information related to your income and other stuff that you're reporting to the federal government, so we can go snooping through that. We also want to know that if you're married or in a relationship, so we can go seize that stuff too, or are you just like the incel we expect you to be. identify all creditors, so other people that he owes money to. And if you can't answer that, we definitely want you to explain it in complete detail. There was one thing that I was missing. Oh, here it is. I knew when I was skimming through that Azoria partner stuff, I had skipped over it accidentally. This one was the real interesting one because it seems like this came out at the hearing. Yes. Identify or state with particularity all facts, changes in circumstances, or newly discovered information that has arisen since your August 29th, 2025 deposition, at which you testified that Azoria Partners LLC is a single member limited liability company that caused you to later state at the April 1st, 2026 show cause hearing that you are not the sole proprietor of Azoria Partners LLC, and that it is an operating company that you use with your parents for a number of different transactions. What does that even fucking mean? Oh, this seems like exactly like he thinks he's going to get away with what he did with the Tesla, which he didn't get away from. U.S. Marshals came and seized that Tesla. Like, why do you think that saying, oh, I don't own the company, technically my parents own it, I just live in their basement? You tried that already. And it didn't work. Why do you think this scam? Why do you think you can pull one over, that you're smart enough to pull one over on a federal court? Are you serious? So we have one statement that sounds like perjury to me, him lying about never living in DC at the April 1st hearing. Now we've got him contradicting his prior statements, trying to say, actually, I don't own Azoria Capital. Actually, I'm not an employee anymore. Actually, we were just using it as a funnel for transactions that me and my parents did. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, does he not understand the serious thin ice he is skating on? These are one statement we know probably for sure that he lied on, and a second statement that I would say with pretty good confidence he's lying on. It to a federal judge at a show cause hearing. It does not get more dumb than that. In your response, describe the nature and change in any of that ownership and why and how and all that took place. Like, just I'm absolutely flabbergasted that he's still doing this. It's just the gall. Like, why do you think you're going to get away with this? Like, what's the game plan here? Because I don't think you're as smart as you think you are. You are not as clever as you think you are. In the meantime, they already have the pending where they domesticated the collections in the district court for the District of Columbia. So as soon as we get the discovery on that apartment, you best believe there's going to be a filing here. They already have the Aiden execution filed as of November 2025. So it's just a matter of saying, hey, there's that property in DC that Fishback owns, and it's not his primary residence, so we're going to go seize that court. Would you give us a writ for us to be able to seize that asset? Cool, thanks, bye. I don't even. And then of course we got let's see how cheeky he was when he appeared for that court hearing. I didn't have the audio in the short I made for this that included this, but yes, this was him appearing at court, all smiles, because he knows like he's a grifter. He's gonna go in there and he's gonna lie to a federal judge, and he thinks he's gonna get away with it.
Any thoughts before you go in?
We'll see what happens.
Oh, we'll see what happens. Oh. see what happens, huh? All right. Yeah, cool story there, bro. I sincerely believe it'll work out for you. And like I said, he avoids contempt for now. For now. But I mean, if you're gonna lie to a federal judge, that for now has a really big asterisk right beside it. That for now seems like really soon it'll be contempt. Actually perjury. I mean, you could put and then probably condemned on top of it. Like, I mean, if you're going to lie to a federal judge, that seems like a really dumb idea. A very dumb idea. And then of course, federal politics, Florida politics. If I read the header there, catching up with what we already knew. Most of us, I think, Main Street News had already reported on it. I think we had briefly mentioned it, but basically that James Fishback has been creating fake engagement. Delete some of these. Yeah, go away. Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away. Fake engagement prior and probably currently right now during his Florida campaign, where he's basically having his buddies go around and make believe things to gain attention, which I mean seems pretty accurate considering all the things that he has done. These are, by the way, all were released in depositions and exhibits and things like that in the Greenlight case. So if you want all this information, all these conversations, I know Main Street media, uh, and we post back and forth. So if you're following my ex, you'll bump into his posts. Don't you worry, you'll find him pretty easily. Has actual ones where he's taken these screen caps and then added in. Let me see if I can find it. Added in James's so you can tell who it is that's making the comments or media mainstream. Sorry. Let me see if I can find them really quick because it really helps because some of these people you don't really know who they are, but he does a really good job with those images he created, helping you keep track of the whole James Fishback game. Aha, here's one of them. So like this one here, where this is James, and then this is his CFO at Azoria Capital. So this, like this, it just has the phone numbers, but here, media mainstream has made it a little easier because now you can identify who is saying what, which I'm pretty sure that's even. What are the odds that I pull the one that that was the exact screen cap? Amazing. I'm just too good at this game apparently. But yeah, that isn't exactly new news. What is new news is these interrogatories are a really bad look for James. Yeah, I don't care too much about that. I don't know why I pulled it. Now, of course, because of James, because he's been, pandering to the goipers, we've had copycats like Mark Moran here, who is trying to get in on the whole parade while having significantly less charisma. Like I'll give James Fishback one thing. He does have a decent amount of charisma. He's still a grifting piece of shit, but this dude
right here at St. John's Church in Richmond,
has
Virginia,
nothing.
Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." My name is Mark Moran. 250 years later, I'm saying the same thing. Today, I'm going to announce that I'm breaking free.
Mom is this just reminds me of like the I have a friend who says like that there's people who think that when they hear the word or the band Rage Against the Machine, they think the machine being raged against is their parents telling them to clean up their fucking room. That's who this guy is.
From the Democratic establishment. Now I'm going to run for United States Senate as an independent.
I also hate this like thing, and I know it started with TikTok, where every single thing, like you can clearly hear what he's saying. We don't need to be spoon-fed the text at the bottom. I speak English. I can listen and comprehend without it needing to be spelled out for me.
I'm doing that because I'm putting our country first. I'm putting it above these divisive issues that the
You
left,
are trying
that the right,
so
and our
hard.
corporate media
Just
control.
Stop.
I want to talk about big, bold ideas that will save this country. We can't afford homes. We can't afford health care. We're dropping.
I just like take a look at that, and then look at James Fishback's clips. Like again,
my name is James Fishback, and I'm running to succeed Ron DeSantis as Florida's next Republican governor. I'm running for Florida governor so I can make.
Like, see, that's professionally edited. It looks slick. He has charisma, and he's not overdoing it. And also, you don't have this stilted shot on him the whole time. We get photos and images of James actually interacting
life
with
more
other
affordable
people.
for you and your family. Easier to afford groceries, to buy a home, to raise a family, and when it's all said and done, to retire with dignity.
You can shit on James for a lot of things, but that actually looks good. It's a night and day. It like you can tell who is the great value version of this gimmick. Let's see here. What else do we want to get into? Oh yeah. And then even when it comes to some of the people who had previously had him on, oh yeah. Yeah, we'll get into this. Like they're even starting to realize that he may not be so great. Not so great. So we'll switch to this one actually for this.
In the gubernatorial race that is in Florida, James Fishback that we had on the podcast, actually like some of the ideas that he had. He had a moment. Something happened. A guy approached him, and apparently he told him you should be lynched. I didn't even believe this story at first when I saw it, so I want to play this for you. By the way, he's doing a very good job going and shaking hands, so marketing-wise, he's good.
Like, how did you not expect this to happen? Like, this just shows you what clown. I'd never heard of the PBD podcast, so great job there, guys. But like, how are you fucking surprised that James Fishback did this? Like, you have to like, I don't know.
Good, but this was a terrible moment. Go ahead, Rob.
Why is he not answering the question, bro?
I'm happy to answer the question, dude.
Did you smash? Was it missionary? Back shots? What was it?
Listen, I don't want you ever speaking about women in our state like that ever again.
I mean, I don't want you ever smashing girls, teenage girls, in our state ever again. So promise me, never smash a minor again?
Why haven't I been arrested?
I don't know.
Why haven't I been arrested?
I don't know.
You should
Why
be
hasn't
lynched.
Trump been?
You should be lynched.
I should be
about me like
lynched?
that.
Yeah. If you weren't up to speed of that from last week, I know that was all over X and was completely inescapable. And I did do a little short on it on the YouTube side, but like, in what world would you ever think that was a good play there? I get that you're in front of your like little groiper groupies, but like at what point did you ever think that was a great idea? Like nobody, like even some of the more right leaning conservatives are gonna look at that and be like, bro, you can't be fucking doing that. You can't.
I should be lynched?
Yes, you should be
Yo,
lynched. About me like
lynched
that.
all pedophiles.
I agree. I will.
Yourself tonight. Know yourself tonight, sir.
Why haven't I been arrested?
What does lynch mean?
Hanging by a rope, like old.
Wait. Bro doesn't know what lynching means? You can't be serious. What? That has to be that has to be the
Was that
Rob,
Jack he spoke to?
Maybe there's different definitions for lynch. Am I the one that is confused here?
Of a mob.
This is dumber than I thought it was. What?
Pull up the definition.
There is.
Why do you need to pull up the definition? You are trying so hard. Like, you understand. He has to understand that, like, this guy is cancer now. And I think the real thing here is he's trying to wiggle out of the fact that he had him on his show. There's no way this dude does not know what the word lynched means. I'm sorry. That's just there's not a world where that
by hanging for an alleged offense with or without a legal trial.
Yeah.
With or without a legal trial.
Without.
That's what they used to do in the South.
So he said to the black
to a black guy,
you should be lynched.
Unfreaking believable. Yeah,
I didn't believe. Is this the end of it?
I have no words for this. This is, you can't use that word. That is just the most.
See, like this is. Like, I get his whole idea here is like, you know, there's no such thing as bad press, but like there's just no recovering from that at all. And then, of course, on top of the lying to a federal judge, on top of, you know, the possible perjury, on top of, well, I mean, we haven't even seen the responses to the interrogatories yet. That'll come next week. But on top of all of that, apparently, now I have not been able to verify the veracity. I don't know Florida law. I don't know Florida really anything. And these are just violations. So media mainstream had pointed out that there were some donations that the Florida State Department had flagged of James Fishback's contributions that potentially violated campaign disclosure laws and certain errors of Chapter 106. Let me get the list here. Candidate giving campaign funds to another candidate, which is prohibited. And then some of these are just, you know, you didn't put the full name. We need to have the full name on the disclosure. It's their own campaign fundraisers to other candidates. Candidate may contribute to their own personal business funds. It's a felony. Yikes. But I mean, they have it as a violation right now. I assume that they think that, you know, like, this isn't a major thing. Like, you know, fine or something like that, but still, like, and also not a good look. Then Fishback, I forgot about this. This one I should have put ahead of the other one. Doubled down on the whole comment, like the whole blow up from the lynching thing. He doubled down on it, and then said, "You weren't asking questions. You got in my face and repeatedly called me a pedophile." I mean, like, there may not be an official charge, but the statements of the person that filed the restraining order against you, that you were in a relationship with, said the relationship, you were dating her while she was a minor. And then you got engaged and made it official when she turned 18. And that while you were doing your little incubate debate thing, James, that there were comments from other members of the staff, not staff, but other, like, participants who were female, who found it questionable that you were dorming with this person. So, you know, maybe legally there's not enough evidence to charge you with, you know, this crime of having a relationship with a minor, and legally minors cannot consent. That, yeah, like, they're going to be, like, I wouldn't come directly out and say pedophile because that has connotations that need to be proven. But, like, you can understand why people find that suspicious, right? You can understand why people are making these statements, right? Like, to best knowledge, and what has been explained and is on the record, is that you were dating a minor. Now, the crime is when you have sex with a minor, which has not been established or proven. But like, again, just the proximity, it's like that. Like, why are you mad that people are giving these? You literally invited this by making a dumb decision, a very stupid fucking decision. So, yes, you should be put to death for falsely accusing me of a crime that itself carries the death. It doesn't, though. Like it doesn't carry the death penalty. And then he quotes Deuteronomy 19:18 for proof that it carries the death penalty. It's like, last time I checked, biblical laws have not been like the actual government criminal code for a long time. So, no, that's like that is such a brain-numbingly dumb argument. I don't even. And then he said that he put hands on his bodyguards, which... And he has some extra footage from someone else who was with him. And obviously, it's the crowd that gets up in him, and he doesn't, hit or make contact with anybody. So... I don't know how this dude can keep going the way he is and have support. Like the only reason he has support is, no, wait a second. Let me double check here. So that was on the 4th and the 3rd, right? Let me double check something here real quick. That post that short because that was the same day, right? That was the 2nd. So that was the 2nd. Same day. Oh, get the heck out of here. I gotta go take care of a spammy bot in the restream side. 1 second. Goodbye. Anywho. So James has the interview with the Hog Twins, which I'm not gonna play, and I'm not gonna really dignify with much, but like this was the same day, and I think the yeah, in fact, it was after okay, so it was the same time as the whole lynching thing. So they have that interview. Like, at what? Like, I hope that... I doubt very much, because I mean, these two are fucking clowns. But I would hope that they would have asked about that, because like, that point... All right, so now it's time for a little bit of fun. I've got some popcorn on the ready for this. So it's time for Marantz. I was debating saving this for Saturday, but there's a little bit of a discussion that I want to get into. Some of that discussion will be saved for Saturday, some of it won't. But I kind of wanted to go in a complete discussion dealing with this whole M&A thing, and dealing with the whole like GameStop, not only as it relates to M&A, mergers and acquisitions, not only as it relates to GameStop, but just like in general, because it seems like there's a lot of silliness going on around that. But first, I got to give the lead in here. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with Steve Eisman. He is one of the characters from The Big Short. He's one of the people who was shorting the mortgage-backed securities back during
President
the
Trump
crisis. Really smart dude. Let me pull this back here to where it is. So what I'm going to do is give the part of the video that he did unfiltered, and then we'll go deal with Marantz and his silliness.
Like the GFC was...
Let me go find it here. Okay. Because like, I think that like this is an actual pretty reasonable conversation from a reasonable person. It's not particularly controversial what he's saying in this clip, and I just find it completely silly that how this gets blown out of proportion, but let's go ahead and let it roll.
Going to be pretty. Now I'm going to address 2 questions from viewers. First question is from Cormac, who says, "Hi, Steve. Massive fan of the show and the way that you conduct interviews, breaking down extremely complex information into something that even someone from a non-finance background can digest. I, however, have probably one of the dumbest questions you will receive. Is GameStop, symbol GME, at its current price, which is around 22, a value stock? I am not one of the people that would invest looking for short squeezes or other nonsense, but in this current environment where private credit is threatening the U.S. economy, I see a stock with a massive stockpile of cash and wonder if it would be worth investing in. I know that Michael Burry has mentioned that he sees some value in the stock, particularly if they use their cash to acquire other businesses with more upside in revenue. Thanks again for doing this show and being open to receiving questions." My response: without question, this is not a dumb question at all. Let's review a little history. GameStop operates a declining business. It sells video games in retail stores, but the entire business has moved online. In 2021, GME was a heavily shorted stock, but then became a meme stock. Leaders of Reddit boards told their followers to engineer a short squeeze by buying GME, and the stock soared multiple times and wiped out the hedge funds who were short. Literally wiped them out. That's the danger of being involved in a heavily shorted stock. Believe me, I know. You can be right on the fundamentals and still lose money. Top line fundamentals at GameStop have not gotten better, but the company has cut costs and so is profitable. Also, the company was very smart and used the price surge to raise capital. Currently, GME has $6.3 billion in cash and cash equivalents, but $4.1 billion in long-term debt, so it has net cash of $2.2 billion. The market cap is 10 billion.
Which is a key thing to understand here. Is like they do have a good cash pile, but a lot of that was also accrued from debt to buy crypto, which last episode that we had, we finally figured out why they moved all of it off into a brokerage account at Coinbase, and that was to basically run covered calls while crypto is kind of having it's off the highs, to say the least.
Billion. In a recent Substack, Michael Burry argued that GME has value because they could use their cash to acquire other businesses. I do not find this argument compelling at all. It sounds like a pipe dream to me. Buy a stock because they could buy something worthwhile at a good price? Good luck with that. Maybe they buy something good, and maybe they buy something not so good. Maybe they buy something at a good price, and maybe not. Too many maybes for me.
See, and that's a pretty straightforward answer, and I think a pretty honest one. Like that is the problem right now with this strategy. The big thing about it is, if you're going to buy a company, like you said, like Steve said, if the company's a good company, why not just invest in that company? Why not just invest in that thing? And it's the reason why I've shot down all these like wild ass rumors that have been going on social media about, oh, they're going to buy eBay, or they're going to buy Best Buy, or they're going to do this or that. Like, these companies fundamentally are perfectly fine. Like, and unless like there was going to be a significant multiple or a significant payout to current shareholders in those companies, you'd have to buy it at a premium. Then they wouldn't agree to it. And then that premium is like you're buying over the fair value of it to buy out this company. And then you've got to discount that buyout price and somehow make some profit over the top of that, when historically the company, performs below that. So that doesn't work. You can't just buy your way into being a legitimate company. So when you're doing a merger or an acquisition, you're looking for a company that's undervalued. So like, eliminate from your vocabulary as to what GameStop is potentially buying these companies like, eBay or like Best Buy or like any of these retail outlets that I've heard about that have been swimming around, or any of these companies that are functional companies that are trading at a high multiple. All these like hopium pipe dreams that people believe in, because that's not the kind of company that GameStop is going to be acquiring, or at least acquire at a reasonable value that will allow them to realize some sort of appreciation, some sort of return on capital, and some sort of, unlocking some sort of hidden value that would make the stock price move. In fact, upon the merger, the stock price is going to go down because, again, especially in those cases where you're having to buy at such a large premium, that's stuff that's coming out of the balance sheet that's over and above the actual value of the asset you're acquiring. So that would mean that the price of the stock has to go down. It's just basically looking at the financials and the fundamentals of the company. That's just how that works. So, like, that's why when we had this discussion, when we had Adavit on, when, me, Platinum, Amy, and Adavit were talking about possible acquisitions for GameStop, a lot of what we were talking about were companies that you're going to have to spend time fixing them up to unlock that trapped value. These are companies that are undervalued, who their business plan needs to be fixed, their balance sheet might need to be fixed, or some other thing that doesn't allow them to realize value. That's why I was talking about Corsair, a company that, fundamentally has a good product, fundamentally is in the same segment as GameStop. There's ways that you could have synergies with the current business model at GameStop. There's ways that you can integrate it and add new things that would unlock profitability. And, I'm not the world's biggest fan of Ryan Cohen, but it seems the cut to the bone strategy worked with GameStop. I'm not sure how well it would work with Corsair, but maybe there's things that need to be chopped off to get the company to profitability. And that's something that you'd look at. A company that you can buy at a discount to what you could realize out of the company and what profitability you can extract. That's what the kind of companies that GameStop's going to have to look at. Companies that aren't trading at a premium now because they're kind of garbage. Or there's something about them that the market isn't realizing. Like, just before we get into Marantz, but like one of the companies that I had gotten a double up on a merger and acquisition deal was Tarian Insurance Group, TIG was the former ticker. And the company had this huge rally during COVID. It was trading at some ridiculous multiples to what it was actually performing as. It was extremely overvalued. I want to say it was like in 2021, it was into 22. It was ridiculous. But by the end of 2023, it was hugely undervalued. It was trading at I want to say a PE of 3 and an EV to E of like 1. Like, it was ridiculous. And so some private equity firm came in, bought it, took it private for double its current share price. It was an easy double up. And of course, when a company is trading at a PE multiple of 3, paying a double up for it is still getting it cheap. Like, if you value it at that price, that's a PE of 6 for an insurance company. Like, companies that usually trade in that like 15 to 7 range when it comes to PE multiples. So like, you're still getting a sweet deal. And that's the kind of things that you have to look at, like scenario wise for GameStop. So naturally, that's what Steve was getting at, is like, if they strike it rich on some company, it would have to be something that isn't going to immediately accrue to the share value. And if they acquire some big company, like everyone suggests that they will, which is what Steven was getting at, it's like, why would you do that? Why not just own that company, own the shares in that company? And the strategy has too many ifs in it. Like, maybe GameStop does get a good company. Maybe the company is able to execute on that. Maybe they are able to accrue value through executing on that strategy. There's just a lot of maybes in there. Things that could go wrong, things that could go right. But like, he's not interested in playing that coin flip. And it was a completely rational and reasonable response. So of course, naturally, reasonable responses are not something that, Marantz deals.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to Marantz Rants. Plenty of good information, a little bit of motivation.
Whole lot of stupidity. Let's go.
A lot of truth, no financial advice. We're going to watch a video today. This is Steve Eisman. You guys probably know who he is. He was played by Steve Carell in the movie The Big Short. Let
me move me over here. There we go.
Named him Mark Baum. So it kind of tells you who he is, his personality via the movie. But this is him in real life. And he has a podcast. 166,000 people watch his podcast. And he has a lot to say about finance. And for whatever reason, this was the topic. Let's go ahead and watch it.
Ready. Now I'm going to address two questions from viewers. First question is from Cormac, who says, "Hi, Steve. Massive fan of the show and the way that you conduct interviews breaking down extremely complex information into something that even someone from a non-finance background can digest. I, however, have probably one of the dumbest questions you will receive. Is GameStop, symbol GME, at its current price, which is around 22, a value stock? I am not one of the people that would invest looking for short squeezes or other nonsense, but in this current environment where private credit is threatening the U.S. economy, I see a stock with a massive stockpile of cash and wonder if it would be worth investing in. I know that Michael Burwan, GME, was a heavy operation that not
we watched this.
Fundamentals and still also GME. They buy some net. Too many maybes for me. Second question is from Mal.
We'll leave it there. Thank you, Steve, for your insight on the stock and the company and the investment. You obviously don't know much about GameStop because I was proven right there just with.
He has a contrary opinion to you, so he must just know nothing.
The video you made. As I turn on these lights, maybe it'll shine some light on the actual topic. Here's the thing, Steve.
It's so fucking cheesy. Oh my
GameStop doesn't have $6 billion. They don't have a net profit or a net amount of $2 billion. GameStop has $9 billion. Additionally, the debt that you see, the bonds themselves, are not due for 5 to 7 years at a 0%.
So what? It doesn't change that they're fucking debt and the money's due back. So it's not your money. That's the point. Like that's the point. It's not your money. It's due to someone else. It doesn't matter if there's a 0% coupon. Like, you took debt to put more cash on the balance sheet, but it doesn't change that at some point you have to give that money back. Like, that's how that works. I hate when, like, goobers play this fucking game with this whole thing with how GameStop's balance sheet operates. Like, they think it's some magical spell that just because there's no coupon, that doesn't mean it's real debt. It is real debt. You owe it. You have to pay it back. That's how it works. So it's not like free cash on your balance sheet.
Coupon. These are the things you need to talk about, not just say the numbers out loud. And
no, he was. No, Tony. Yeah, like, it is real debt. It does have to be paid back at some point. And no, he doesn't have to. Like, you're just trying to find little quibble things for at the end of the day. What is the most non-committal and pretty boilerplate response that anybody could come to the conclusion of? Their strategy is to acquire a company to increase shareholder value. Yeah, sure, maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. I'm not really interested in playing maybe games. Like, the fact that he's getting this ass hurt about it is just indicative of the person Marantz is. This guy's also ignore the 2028 put date too. Yeah. Womp womp.
say, hey, well, this is what they're doing, plus and minus. Additionally, their revenue is increased, so top line has increased in the U.S. and Australia.
That is an absolute lie. Top line has not increased. Again, this dude doesn't know the difference between revenue and earnings, and it's hilarious. Steve completely said it correctly, that they have changed over to profitability but top line revenue has shrunk year over year. This is not a matter of dispute. This is a cold, hard fucking fact about GameStop. There, top line revenue. That's quarterly. Let's go annually. 2023, it was down from the year before by 1.25. 2024, down 11%. 2025, down 27.5%. 2026, which would have been 2025's, down 5%. And, you might say, well, it doesn't matter because, the company's profitable and everything. And to a certain extent, sure, it just means the company ain't going to go broke. That's for sure. But, like, the problem and why you don't see the company getting, like, some sort of huge multiple, like, price to book, as you can see right here, is 1.8. I mean, that's a bit of a multiple, like, valuation. You're giving some growth in there. And you got a trailing 12-month of 30, P of 30, and then you've got a forecasted PE of 63. Yikes. Yeah, he is one of the most confidently stupid people on the internet. Don't you know Tony? Don't you know the number one rule is if you repeat incorrect information often enough? Yeah, it's the big lie. If you say a lie enough times, people will just believe the lie. And that's Marantz's entire performative act. If I lie to my audience enough, they'll just believe it. All right. Way to go over there, Joseph Goebbels. But we don't play that game here. So, like, that's the problem and why you're not seeing GameStop's, share price lifting like some people would like, is that it's already trading at a pretty high multiple when it comes to PE for a retail outlet. Its price to book is pricing in the possibility of some sort of growth, but, like, the financials are playing it out. Like, as long as there is not growth on this top line number, you're trapped in hell forever. Because, eventually you're going to run out of stuff on this expenditures, from cost of goods sold to SG&A that you can cut to push up the bottom line. Eventually, you've got to grow top line to grow bottom line. You've got to show some growth in the company, which is another reason why that they're going for this strategy of trying to acquire a company to bring into GameStop, to mold, to be part of the GameStop business, to grow that top line. Like the whole strategy for Ryan Cohen is we fixed the bottom line. We fixed the bleed. Now we got to work on growth, and we've got a lot of cash, and let's invest in growth. I personally, if I was in his position, I would suggest, or, of advising him or being a shareholder looking to it, I would hope that he take the cash and just invest it into the company, and rather than making an acquisition. But this is the decision he's making, so you just kind of got to deal with it. And I think there's plenty of good ways that you can fix the retail experience at GameStop and be a totally profitable gaming company. I mean, cutting some of this stuff right down to the bone, he's proven you can do that. At this point, it's you fix the bleeding. Now it's time to expand and grow the company. But yeah. So yeah. First lie, stoned to death. Top line revenue is down year over year for the past 4 years. Try again.
Down was because they actually closed those countries off, like Canada and Europe itself. So by them destroying the footprint, closing stores, they were overstored. That then in turn allows them to make a greater profit. But everything has not gone online. Everything is not digital. It's not a brick and mortar.
When was that even brought up? And again, just because they close stores doesn't mean that doesn't mean revenue. That's the reason. That's the proof that the revenue went down. And trying to say, well, that doesn't count because they were closing unprofitable stores. It doesn't matter. Like, they look at it like investors look at it that way. that if it like the top line is your possible momentum. And yeah, at this like cutting those stores was necessary. But now it's not necessary, and you got to grow that top line if you want to realize some sort of appreciation in the stock price. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. What it grows into, that's a matter for debate. But like, that's why you're not getting the valuation you are, because of like you run out of shit that you can squeeze out of the orange.
Order versus e-commerce platform. That's not what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a new product. You're dealing with additional margins, increased margins. But to marginalize and or to shun off GameStop isn't to say it's just, with too many variables that you don't want to measure.
But that is what that is what it is, though. The entire business model right now is stable, but the entire goal for growth of the company, the only plan that Ryan Cohen has deigned to put out, is we plan on buying or acquiring a company to grow revenue. Like, you're mad because someone found a way to just simply analyze GameStop's business model, and you don't like that it is very simple and is an easy coin flip because it demystifies the cult around this stock. It demystifies this whole religion around GameStop, and it just leaves you naked and exposes you for what you are. Like, it's fine if you think Ryan Cohen could pull this off, but pretending that it's anything more than what it is just lying to your audience.
Let's measure the true variable, the turnaround story. GameStop used to lose $519 million a year. They now make unadjusted $648.
And it's already priced into the stock. You can even argue that it's overpriced into the stock. A trailing 12-month PE multiple of 30 and a forward PE multiple that's double that. Like, again, that's what he's getting at. If you if you're looking at it from a value stock perspective, it's already priced to perfection. And some people would even say above perfection. And it's not just the turnaround story, because the turnaround story right now has changed from a turnaround story to a, we don't think we can grow revenue with the current business, so we need to acquire a new business and incorporate it into the company to grow revenue. Which I think, by the way, is absolute horseshit. There's definitely ways that you can improve the retail footprint of GameStop and draw in new revenue sources. I'd say that they're not even exploiting like the trading cards situation as well as they could. But the PSA thing is great. It's worked out really well, but I still think that you could get in more people buying cards if you just simply marketed it a little better. I mean, the entire thing at Toys R Us was having trading card day once a month or like once a week. And you'd go in there and you'd have kids play, Pokemon cards, Magic. They didn't have Magic the Gathering, but they did have Yu-Gi-Oh! And you even had the Spain tops. I can't remember what those were, whatever. But like, you get the kids in the store to play the game, so they tell mommy and daddy, I want to beat Timmy. I need another Pokemon card booster pack. And they buy all the booster packs to try and improve their decks so they can beat their friends. It's a profit generating machine. You can even turn it into a big thing. You've got this national organization that's GameStop. Why not have a huge national Pokemon tournament? The game, for these trading card things, and you drive people into your stores. That's what frustrates me the most about GameStop, is there's so many obvious, easy ideas they could do to generate revenue. And the idea is to, let's go acquire a company. Why not just invest into the business? It baffles me. Why does Marantz look like he's got turned up by Tyson in all his videos? Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I have a theory on why he was into this and I think some of you may have discovered why he found like this particular Steve Eisman video, but we'll get to that later.
Million. That's over $1 billion swing. What I didn't hear you say in your whole video And your whole presentation to it was Ryan Cohen. When you think about...
Yeah, because, like, why would you? The dude doesn't hold an earnings call, barely speaks at the shareholder meeting. Like, why would you? Why? This is just like fucking masturbation at this point. Why? Why do we need to care about Ryan Cohen? What? Like, he wants to fill in all this stuff because, again, like, Steve gave the perfect example of the current business model of the company, and he doesn't like it because it nakedly exposes what the business of GameStop is. Like, I don't understand why he's so... Well, I mean, I do understand why he's so ass hurt about it, but, like, fucking grow up.
What Michael Burry said in his piece, he talked about Ryan Cohen specifically. He's a 40-year-old billionaire.
Right, because Michael Burry has a Substack to sell. You're the mark! That's why he's talking about Ryan Cohen. Steve Eisman knows what his audience is, and his audience isn't stupid fucking goobers like you. Michael Burry's audience is exactly people like you. People who he thinks are stupid enough to buy his $30 a month fucking subscription. He knows who his target demo is. Pandering to baggies, apparently. Like, that's again, this boils down to what Marantz's argument is that he hates that he's not being pandered to. Well, go figure, you're not Steve Eisman's audience.
Billionaire who's made plenty of great investments, and he built a lot of things. He cleaned up GameStop. He cleaned up the sheet. So when you're investing your money with GameStop, you're investing your money with Ryan Cohen. Ryan Cohen, CEO, chairman of the...
Yeah, like, that's also part of the problem. Because, like, any dolt can go in and gut a company to profitability. Any, tool can figure that trick out. What the problem is, and why a lot of people don't trust Ryan Cohen going forward, is every attempt that he has tried to do to raise top line revenue so that can expand earnings through simple revenue growth, he's absolutely failed, except for the, partnership with PSA. He failed on the whole crypto, ETF, token market with, and then he failed again on, like, he didn't even try. Like, see, that was another thing that pisses me off. He didn't even try to set up a digital gaming store platform. He just teased it by, making some trademarks for it that he let expire and never used. So clearly it was an idea, and he never bothered to try and execute on it. And then, the PSA things worked out, and, he's decided that's the extent of what he wants to try and do. And now it's into GameStop's going to acquire a company. Like, the idea that, that people don't trust Ryan Cohen to move the ship forward, I think it's a totally fair one. You give him all the credit you want to about PSA, but, like, it's not been necessarily all rainbows and sunshine with how he's operated this company.
The board for GameStop has the full authority to use every investment dollar at his disposal without covenants, without board of directors telling him what to...
Right, because he put his stoolies on the board of directors. Like, that's cover that, like, I like how he is trying to, like, show it as if this is some good thing, but, like, this is a corporate governance issue in and of itself. Like, not having an independent board that can come in and go, whoa, maybe you're going too far, maybe you're going in the wrong direction, is something that you should have in a company. Like, the CEO should have day-to-day control and should have reasonable ability to affect his vision, but, like, not having a board of directors that comes in and checks him when he's doing something stupid is bad. But he is trying to sell it like it's a great thing, and I just don't get it.
To do, and or any other consultants coming in. And by having this optionality for GameStop, if you read the actual fine print, it says that he gets to invest his own capital along with GameStop's capital. Here's the part that you...
Yeah, I've never understood why that's a good thing. To be honest, that just seems like a giant conflict of interest, which is why I believe to date that, yeah, like even Ryan Cohen understands that, and that's why GameStop's only been invested in bonds. But of course, he's going to try and sell it like, you know, this conflicted CEO can just do whatever he wants. Yeah, he's been remarkably mediocre. I would agree with that. Like, he hasn't done anything that's killed the company outright, but he's not anything special. Any doofus could have done what he did. And the reason why no one's done it before, because they knew that GameStop would be a significantly smaller company at a smaller valuation if they had done what Ryan Cohen did. And sure, GameStop would have survived on as a company, but the only reason GameStop has the valuation it does is because it's a meme stock. Like, if someone prior to 2021 did what Ryan Cohen did, GameStop's share price would half. Like, you've gutted the company, you've gutted the balance sheet, you've got a bunch of stores, you've reduced revenue drastically, and you have no forward plan as to what to do to raise revenue. I'm out. Like, you buy into a company's stock for a return on investment. You know, a company that grows revenues and grows value over time. And if the company is not growing its value, or God forbid reducing it by reducing the cash flows, like that's the valuation of the company for you as a shareholder. You own the cash flows. If the cash flows of the company are going down, why would I stick around? Why?
Really didn't talk about. Ryan Cohen works for free. Did all of this work,
he
all
doesn't
this
work for
investment
free
over the last
now.
6 years.
He doesn't work for free now. He's got this exorbitant, like, Elon Musk-esque payment package now, which I think is absolutely absurd. I hate this game of where these billionaires and millionaires and in Musk's case, soon to be trillionaires, play this game of, oh, I'm all about the everyman. I won't take a salary. I'll just dilute the shit out of the fucking company in bonus payments that, you know, get paid out to me, and, you know, make millions upon billions of dollars that way. A payment strategy that depreciates the value of the shares as I do it. Like, there is no free fucking lunch. There is no free lunch. There's paying your CEO and there's paying your CEO. And with the choice between these payment packages that Ryan Cohen and Elon Musk has, and a normal salary that you pay a CEO with, you know, some upside bonuses if they perform well, I'd rather take the traditional CEO compensation payment. It's far less damaging to the company and its shareholders. It's ridiculous. And then these people and their fanboys like Marantz here have the gall to be like, oh, isn't he such a great hero? He's an everyman. He's taking no salary compensation, paying no attention to the fucking, like, share compensation. That's not real. That doesn't accrue to the balance sheet. That has no effect on the company. What?
He works for free. He doesn't take a single dollar. So you do understand the nuance and just the little things that you left out that would be so massive in the investment world. When you say there's just too many maybes, well, you would
there is. Like, I don't even
clear up those maybes when you would be all in and full in if you had the information that we have, the GameStop investors. This is what Dr. Michael
the people who've been perpetually down on their investment for the past 5 years, while the S&P 500 has returned 80% to people who hold that ETF. Yeah, I definitely want to take investment advice from you.
Murray was talking about, and for you to dismiss it, I get it. But here's my next question to you. The true question, Steve. You have a huge platform. You've got thousands and thousands, if not millions of people who watch you each month. Here's my thing. Why are you talking GameStop? Why is that the question?
Because a listener asked him about it. Are you fucking serious? It's like right there in the video clip you showed. He had 2 questions from listeners, and one of them was about GameStop. Oh, why are you talking about GameStop? Urgh. So fucking stupid. Works for free, chicken mate. Yeah. Wait till that share compensation hits on your hits on the value of your shares. There's a reason why shareholder compensation is considered part of GAAP. It's still compensation, and it's still paid one way or another.
And that you chose to answer out of all of them, and yet you just edit and clipped and cut your whole presentation against it because you don't know the information. You were.
He specifically chose GameStop to hurt Marantz's feelings. Okay. Gosh, this guy is such a whiny little bitch.
Fed that information, and by the way, the information you were fed was factually wrong. Educate yourself, Steve. I know it sounds crazy coming from a guy like me.
QQ more, Marantz. QQ more.
But there are people out here that understand the investment.
No, you
they
don't.
Actually digest it the correct way.
Don't.
And then they get to tell you how great Ryan Cohen is.
Digest
Could you imagine talking about an investment?
You digest it like the cultist little shitbag that you are.
That Warren Buffett's making and Warren Buffett's done over the last X amount of years, and then not mention Warren Buffett at all. Could you imagine that? That's not what happens. But you guys all keep Ryan Cohen's name out of your mouth. All you guys don't want to shine spotlight on it. Don't worry, I will.
Oh yeah. They're just so afraid of Ryan Cohen. They can't speak his name because he's just so powerful. Nice of Marantz to take a break from his busy schedule of being chased by villagers with pitchforks to give his stock market hot takes. Stock market lukewarm takes. Fuck. How does anyone take that clown seriously? It's beyond me. But I do know why Marantz probably is really ass hurt that Steve Eisman leave Britney alone. why he's really mad that Steve Eisman talked bad about GameStop is because I bet he was watching Steve Eisman, because recently, as has been a lot of people, he's been talking about private equity. And we know how Marantz feels about private equity. I mean, not legitimate complaints about private equity. I mean that it's a secret cabal of Jews keeping the average man down. That just so we're clear again, that is Marantz's belief. Like, private equity is just a dog whistle for his anti-Semitic bigotry. Just to be clear. But there are some actual some actual things that we can talk about. Let me find it. I'm going to get the actual video from Steve's page, because it did have some... Let's see, is this the one I was... Oh no, that's the video we just watched. This is the one. And let me find
Let me give you some of my
spot. Let me see if I can find the exact spot here, because I think this one is a pretty good conversation that actually talks about the private equity problem without, crazy conspiratorial nonsense.
Let's talk about private credit. Since you brought it up, I was going to bring it up.
Yeah, you bring it up.
It's been a long time since I had. And
yeah, tell what you were saying before about how you have a blog, you put it on Monday, and you got to update it every day. I don't care if you lose all your money. I care if you create systemic risk that's going to keep me up at night and cause the Fed involved in this.
Oh, the banks, the banks are involved because they lend. So when you talk about private credit funds, they're levered 2 to 1. That one turn of leverage that they are levered, they get from a lot of it from banks.
Okay.
Now, my argument is that assuming this gets really bad, and there was an interesting article in the Journal today about how, was it today or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. There was an article in the Journal yesterday about how the estimate is that private credit has 25% exposure to software.
Right.
Software companies. So that's like the number that people have come up with. And the article in the Journal, which was really like great reporting, was it turns out the way you classify software, there's room for maneuver.
So a healthcare company, which a healthcare software company is not.
And the banks.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, Steve, 2 to 1 is not 7 to 1. Where were we in the GFC? How much leverage was out there in these CDOs and?
No. The way to think about it is how much leverage was actually in the banks when you put back all the stuff that was quote unquote off balance sheet, but was on balance sheet.
Right.
They probably averaged for the big banks, they were levered 40 to 1.
That's not.
Just imagine that, like banks being levered to 40 to 1. That's absurd. And that's why for all, and I think he's going to say it here, for all, the concerns there is for private equity, I don't think it's a GFC level issue. It's going to probably break some of these, private equity funds. But the effects on the real economy and real people, I mean, it could be bad, like, but it's not going to be earth-shattering. Like, think less great financial crisis, think more .com bubble. Like, did that hurt people's retirement funds? Yeah. Did it destroy a lot of jobs? Yeah. Did it have long-term effects on the American economy and the world at large? Not really.
Serious.
That's not where we're at.
And that's not where we're at today.
And there's equity in front of the leverage.
And there's equity in front. So I think
they're in the senior position.
Correct. If I had to make a bet, I would say there's definitely going to be a lot of losses in private credit, but I'm personally not worried about the banking
Let me
system.
tell you
and don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing that people shouldn't be concerned with that. Especially with the way that private equity, to try and keep the liquidity train going, is trying to get into people's retirement accounts, trying to sell private equity directly to your 401k. Yeah, no, that's not good. Like that's how you get some real systemic problems. But like, as far as like, as long as that's kept under control, like this whole leverage situation they're talking about, like the ramifications, not nearly as big, but who's the guest here? Steve Eisman is gonna scare you with a little boogeyman idea that may be a little terrifying.
Theorem that I hope to win the Nobel Prize for economics for.
Please do.
Are you ready?
Yes.
And I say this jokingly. Systemic risk equals the value at risk times the opacity.
Okay.
And what we found out during the financial crisis is even a small amount of potential loss in a place can be a big amount if we don't know where that loss is.
Correct.
Right? If it's a bill.
And then that's the big problem that people are having with, and I'm going to move on from this, but the big problem that people are having with private equity right now is, there's not a lot of transparency in private equity. So we have no idea what the hell is going on. And that's scary, and it could make the risk bigger than it really is, because I think he goes on to say, like, if I know what the risks are, they're plainly out in front of me, I'm gonna be fine. Like, if I know that there's some turmoil in the oil market, I'll just stay out of the oil market, but it doesn't bother me. I don't have any reason to sell my stocks. But when I suddenly realized that the risk becomes suddenly permanentable and it's everywhere, and or the risks are out there and I don't know what they are and they could hurt me, then I'm going to take, defensive action to protect myself and my investments. And that's when you have the cascade downward that just seems unending. And so it's that opacity that really has people, the lack of transparency that really has people terrified about private equity, because we don't know where the pain is. And if there's a possibility that it could be me, I'm going to do things to protect me, before I end up being the sucker. Anyway. Fun as that is, we're going to move on. What we're going to move on to is a little bit of silliness. And it's going to be silliness related to the metamaterials bankruptcy. Now, I may do another one on this because there's the FINRA supplemental brief, which I think I've gone over. And then there was the supplemental brief by the trustee, which I kind of want to wait to go over on Saturday. Because it's a lot of the tangled arguments over the FINRA stuff. The real problem with it is that they're not necessarily wrong. Like, when someone is going to go for some of these privilege things, you need to prove that the privilege is applicable. But that's a process that usually takes place within the process of an actual litigation, which brings us back to the big problem that we're having here, that this is all pre-litigation activity that shouldn't be happening when it comes to 2004 discovery. This shouldn't be happening right now. And that's the big problem, because it's very fact intensive and it requires a lot of time. And you're wanting to have this all done on a short timetable so you can file your lawsuit. If you have enough information to bring this litigation, you even know the people you're going to target. So just bring the litigation and then we can handle the actual discovery, this factually intensive discovery, on a normal litigation timetable. And I think that's what's really going to kill the trustee on this. It's like, why can't you do this in a normal litigation setting? This whole FINRA stuff. It's like terabytes of discovery. And you think that, well, I've got a terabyte, full of movies and stuff. That can't be that much. No, this is terabytes of documents. Like files that are at best a couple megabytes, maybe kilobytes of size. It's terabytes of data. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how large it is. But we're not going to focus on that. Instead, we're going to focus on the silliness. Where was it? So I know there's some silliness here. I remember seeing it. Where is it? Oh, here we are. I found the silliness. This came in right before April Fool's. It was like an early April Fool's joke. It's the Scott Trout filings. So we've got a whole list of 2004 discovery. Like Scott Trout is like most pro se litigants. He sees an actual lawyer do something, and then suddenly it becomes his favorite thing. So the trustee has done 2004 discovery. Now he wants to do all the 2004 discovery. Notice of filing omitted proposed order. RE motion of Scott Trout for 2004 discovery to FINRA. I don't think I've read all of these, so let's go look at this one first. Party and pro se the party interest respectively files this notice. Oh, he's wanting this. Oh, yeah. So it hasn't been signed yet. It's just a proposed order. Okay. Those are 3 proposed orders. So then his actual Trustee Lovato 2004 subpoena. Oh boy. What documents does he want? That's what I'm curious about. Good cause for each. Litigation funding contracts. Well, we'll get to that. That's coming up, I think, in May. I think that's when that's scheduled. Emails regarding special counsel's conflicts. All emails attached and related written communications between the trustees, counsel, Jeffrey Hartman, and special. This dude, you can't get that. That is literally the definition of attorney-client privilege. What? All emails, attachments related with written communications between trustees, counsel, Jeffrey Hartman, and special counsel, Wes Christian. That is attorney-client privilege, my dude. I knew it. I knew there was plenty of stupid here. It wouldn't take long to find it. God. Oh, gosh. This bankruptcy is the gift that keeps on giving. Oh, my goodness. Emails, attachments related to written communications between the trustees, counsel, Jeffrey Hartman, special counsel, Wes Christian, discussing Christian's conflicts. List of approximately 50 interested buyers for Torchlight or Grande assets. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Documentation of the $500,000 transfer, all contracts, approvals, legal basis for special counsel Christian authorizing, arranging, requesting the use. I mean, the judge is already going to. Okay. So I agree with like 2 out of 3 of those. Not as silly as I thought it was going to be. Whether they're he's legally able to get that 2,000 more discoveries. A whole different can of fish. I am pretty sure on one of those he ain't getting it though. I'm sending out one to Gregory McCabe. I think this is the one I saw, and I'm pretty sure I agree with all of these. Pro subpoena limited to the following. It's from January 2020 to present. Documents sufficient to identify entities owned or controlled by McCabe that engaged in transactions with the debtor. Makes sense. All agreements, promissory notes. Yeah, that makes sense. All bank records, wires, incomplete transfers. Makes sense. August 2025. Ventrano McCabe email chain together with any attachments, internal follow-ups. Some of that may be attorney-client privilege. We'll see. But I'd be interested in that. So most of that seems roughly reasonable. There's 3 proposed orders. Where's the third? Oh, yeah, the Charles Schwab one. I'm pretty sure I've gone over that one, that is not an appropriate use of 2004 discovery. Yeah, I want the phone call records from Charles Schwab related to this 2004 discovery that deals with my litigation, but has absolutely nothing to do with the estate's affairs. Not happening. Not happening, bro. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about doing that. So let's flip back and see what I want to cover next. I really don't keep up with the MMTLP since 2022, but isn't Trout one of the good guys trying to is Zex are being held accountable? Yes and no. If I had to compare him to someone, I'd call him. He's the less crazy version of Ethan. I'd call him like the Project Popcorn Crew. They believe all the same silly conspiracy theories about the naked shorts and all that stuff. They're just recently recovering. They figured out that there are also bad actors in here, and the one saving grace is that, unlike the Project Popcorn crew, the like legitimate bad actors within the company. So like, yes, but no. Like, half this stuff, like the Charles Schwab stuff, is all kooky conspiracy theory nonsense, and they tend to focus a lot on the conspiratorial nonsense and not so much on the other stuff, but they seem to be getting a little better at that, at least. Speaking of which, Tony, have you been following you've been following Barking Puppy? Oh my goodness. It has gotten progressively more cringe. Like, the cringe is off the charts. Let me explain to you how cringe is cringe.
But this made them look bad. I love when billionaires sit on their thrones and say, we need to donate.
I think we should help. Half my family's Ukrainian.
You say, how much money have you sent to Ukraine?
None.
So what do you mean by we? Families from Ukraine?
What the fuck is with
Ukraine, like, why don't you send them $1 billion? If you think we need to help, why don't you start? How about you first?
Especially when he tried to put on those Rachel Maddow style glasses. Meanwhile, we have problems of our own in this country.
So I took out 2 loans to get here today. I don't even have money for a hotel. Slept
Give
in
him
my
a big
car.
hand, guys. Homeless dude.
Is that Grant Cardone? I don't waste my time with that nonsense. Probably for the best, because he's so desperately trying to be like his brother. I'm pretty sure we saw that one last time. Yeah. But he's like trying desperately to pump AMC, and it's kind of sad. Yeah, sad like that. Sad like that, except he thinks that it's like, I should have 1 million followers. The algorithm is against me. Maybe me and Pete need a chat. This is...
Well, then, fuck that money.
What even was that cut? That...
Does this mic work? Well, then, fuck that money.
Man, all of that lazy, half-assed editing for only 12K followers. Well done. Well done indeed. Like, I remember 2 weeks ago we watched his last video, the video at that time, and the edits on that were painful, and I'm pretty sure he had like some sharp noise that in the cut of it that, like, I'm pretty sure my ear was bleeding afterwards. I'm not a big fan of his desperate attempts to try and ape his brother's popularity and failing miserably. I'd say that this is an accurate representation. Instead of great value, it's terrible value. But yeah. I think there's anything I really want to go over, because it's like coming up on 10:30, and I probably should wrap it up shortly. No, I kind of want to save the Bed Bath and Beyond thing for Saturday, but this was from last week. This isn't exactly great new news, but we did find out that Bollinger Motors, the artist formerly known as Mullen, is delinquent, filing its reports, and is currently on pink sheets and probably going to get moved shortly to lower grades of the OTC market, which is not great. Not great at all. But I don't think anyone's really invested. Yeah, I'm probably also going to save this for Saturday, the whole financials from Quantum, even though it's a week old. Put that over there. maybe one of these times when we have some like nice long video live stream, like we can listen to Soika and I can get depressingly levels of drunk. We can go over like investing stuff again, looking at some companies maybe. Been looking at some mergers though. I have some of the ones I'm in. I have told people that I am in the Papa John's trade, mainly because like it like lifted off on the announcement and then immediately crashed back down to the price it was pre the announcement of the buyout offer. So I'm looking at it this way. If the buyout happens, cool. I got in real cheap, and I'll make a 40% premium on where I'm sitting at now. And if it doesn't, then I could probably let the shares go and not really lose a meaningful amount of money, if any, because I'm back. I bought in at the floor. There's a lot of talk about, you know, Papa John's trying to do this turnaround strategy, which I'm kind of skeptical of, mainly because there's compressing margins in the pizza industry as it is because of the level of competition. And also the company's debt load right now is kind of, I wouldn't call it AMC levels of bad because they're still making money. So they have positive cash flows, even though their balance sheet is a bit upside down, which means they're not functionally insolvent. But it's not really a situation I want to be in. There's some other mergers and acquisitions. Let me see here. That I've been looking at. I've been looking at the Caesars one, but I haven't exactly pulled the trigger on that. Mainly because if the deal gets rugged, you're dealing with a company that is not making money and has kind of a bad balance sheet. So even though that one seems likely to go through, let me double check. There's total liabilities. Total assets of 31.6 billion to liabilities of 27. So yeah, losing money, upside down balance sheet. Like cool if it goes through, but the other one I'm in is Bright House Financial, and that one is pretty. I like that one because I think it's horribly undervalued. Like the buyout price is $70. It's sitting at $61 right now. So a good premium on it. There was a little bit of a spook at the earnings call because of some things that were said, but there was no meaningful change that the offer was going to be withdrawn. And it's already been approved by shareholders. So I'm already in pretty heavy into that one. So I don't know if I'll add anytime soon. But I really like that one. And the premium there right now at its current share price, I'm pretty sure is 12%. So yeah, that one I think is a pretty good one. The Warner Brothers one is really interesting because, you know, there was the back and forth between Paramount and Netflix. Netflix dropped out. Paramount became the leading bid. Then you got the DOJ saying that they were going to investigate this deal, specifically because Donald Trump had gotten out and said that he wanted Paramount to take over CNN. Then Pam Bondi gets axed as the Attorney General. A lot of the rumor behind that one was because she wasn't prosecuting Trump's political opponents to his liking. So now you got to kind of wonder if that DOJ investigation is going to get axed. And I don't think Warner Brothers price particularly moved all that much. Let me move to this screen. This will probably give us a better view. Yeah. So I haven't been threatened by any MMTLP people. I'm starting to feel ignored. Yeah. Well, I don't even really get threatened anymore, really. We give the U.S. a few more weeks, the shitco's can start buying war bonds. That is, yeah, possibly. Are you ready to get drafted? Yeah, it's come a little bit off the top there. What is the buyout price for Warner Brothers? For $131 is the buyout price. So yeah, it has drifted. The top was at 30 and it came down. So what is the premium on that right now? Buyout price is 30 and it's at $27.50. That'd be $2.50. Divided by 7. So you're looking at like an 8% premium. That's not bad. It's not bad, especially considering I think the deal might go through, actually, now that, you've had this chair shuffle at DOJ. I mean, there's still a chance that the DOJ might step in, which might make this price a little hard to stomach, especially since it probably collapsed back down to 21. But I would wait it out a little more. Let's see if this supposed oh man, popcorn kernel up in there in the goes anywhere, but and you can tell by the chart there that people are a little skittish. It's kind of come off, but we'll see. I think it has a pretty good chance of going through, just because of how wonky the government is right now. But I still think there are some better plays. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the Papa John's, trade. Right now it's at 35. The buyout price is like 40 or 45. I want to say it's 45. So there's still a bunch of headroom premium here, which shows that like there isn't a lot of thought that this deal is going to go through. But I still think that it's got the best, security, margin of security, because like at worst, I got in like right here. So, oh no, it's going to collapse back down to here. And I'm fine. I'm back where I started. But, and of course I'd say that this is probably the best M&A deal right now. The buyout price is like 70, which is all the way up there. It's currently trading at 61. And it's already been approved by shareholders. There's no indication that the firm looking to buy out is going to back out. And I just think that, you got a free 12% premium there. I'm still looking at some of this M&A stuff. I haven't quite gotten into probably all the companies I want to look at. I'd say the Caesars one is, even though it has a pretty good chance of going through, it's the one with the least security, least downside security, because it's a company with an upside down balance sheet that's making no money. So the minute this deal gets called off, it's going right into the floor. So I've been kindly staying away from that one and just sticking to the ones that I know are pretty much a set deal, and for some reason are just way off the mark as far as where they should be. But I think that's where I'll leave it for now. And if I have more stuff, then I'll come up with it. I'll probably just see y'all Saturday, though I may do, depending on how, if there's any new stuff that comes up, I may do an extra on Friday. But more than likely, I won't see you guys till Saturday. It was nice spending the evening with you all.